Okay, we're starting on the end caps, and this is the simplest end cap. I had a little short piece, maybe an inch long or a little bit better, in my scrap box of 1 inch diameter aluminum rod. So I stuck it in the forejaw and faced off the end and cut the outer diameter and then the inner diameter of the tube, and then hollowed out the inside. So that's what I did. That hollowed out portion in the inside is supposed to have a radius on the outside edge, but I just made a 45-degree bevel there. It's a little bit simpler. Most of the material is removed. I could use the radius forming tool to cut in there if I thought it was necessary. Let me zoom out just a little bit, and you can see what's going on there. The carriage is here, and well, you can't see the tool, but it's just a 45-degree pointed tool that I cut that interior with. And then the tube is here, right? The one we just made in the last video. So the end caps are both press fit. They're a 1/1000th of an inch press fit. So I like that better than what I did before. Now that just press fits on there, and I think that's going to work just fine. There, on the FizGig project, I had to use a high temperature epoxy for that, and I didn't really like that, although it did work fine. Somebody said use Loctite. I wouldn't do that. I don't recommend it because there's heat in the displacer chamber, so Loctite may fail, but the high temperature epoxy does work. I can assure you of that. Anyway, so the end cap is made. The end of the end cap is only a 32nd of an inch thick. So this is going to part off right here, back a 32nd of an inch from this offset. So that's what I'm getting ready to do now. I didn't show the machining of this on camera because it's a pretty simple situation, but I will show the machining, which is very similar on the more complicated end cap. So that'll be next. So I'm going to go ahead and part this off, and maybe I'll put a little bit of that on the video, and then we'll go ahead and start the rear end cap. This is the front end cap, so the simple one. And we will have to use a forming tool on the rear end cap. So we'll use the same forming tool that we made for the displacer chamber. So it's a 93,000th radius forming tool. So we'll use that and to create the interior radius of the inset, and this same inset is on the more complicated rear end cap. So with that, I'll bring you back. Okay, there she be. Well, let me blow it off here with the air a little bit. It's pretty. Oh, let's see here. I'll zoom out a little bit. Well, there's the end cap. Little nubbin on there that I have to get rid of. Actually, once this is pressed into the displacer tube, can clean this up. I left a few thousandths extra thickness on this end here, so I probably won't press this in until I get the other side finished and the push rod finished. So I can't zoom out any further than that. Let me see here. It looks like that's going to press in there just fine into that tube. There's a little start there on it because it has a slight bevel on the end, but it's going to press in there just fine, and that's going to be the end of it. So that should work just beautiful. Anyway, with that, I'll call off this little portion here, and we'll get started on the other end. So turn the camera off now, and I'll bring you back. Okay, we're going to start a new segment. The last little segment was one of the end caps for the displacer tube. So that end cap we finished, and now we're going to machine the second end cap. So this end cap's a little bit different, a little bit more complicated, and I got my drawing up there. So we've put a piece of material in the little TEG lathe, and we've started turning it down. So that's what we're going to build. It looks pretty much the same as the other end cap as far as the cap part is concerned, but it goes into the tube much further. So let's see. I don't know if I can put this end cap in front of the camera or not. Probably not. There it is right there. So there's the first end cap. We probably can't focus on that because it's too close. But anyway, that's the first end cap. This end cap is going to be a little bit different. You can see my drawing up there, and like I say, it goes it's long enough to where the end of the push rod almost reaches the center of the displacer tube. So there's not as much chance for wobble as long as everything's concentric and built right. So let's move down here to the lathe, and we'll take a look at what we're doing down here. So we just put a piece of aluminum 1-inch round stock in there, and so we're starting to cut it down. And I'm not going to put this on film because it's pretty simple. But we started with 1 inch. I just surfaced it down a little bit, and this portion right here is the smallest portion of the end cap that goes inside the displacer tube, and it's I think 0.4 or 0.410, something like that. So that's what we're doing now. We're cutting that down to size, and we're going to get it down to 0.4. Eventually, this is way too long right now, so this is going to cut off somewhere here, and then we're going to turn it around and chuck up this end and do most of the work in that direction. While I got it in the lathe this way, I will be making the inset into this portion here to lighten the end cap, and I will be putting a bevel on the end out here and cutting it off to length. This right now, this narrow or smaller part is too long also, because I needed room to put a center in there. So eventually that'll be cut off. The center hole will go away, and all the drilling we need to do will be from this end once we turn it around in the chuck. So that's what's going on. Here's another look at the drawing. So there's the drawing. can see the drawing there, and you can see how all the drilling and will be done from the large end. And the large end won't be there won't be much there, just the part that snaps into the tube there. So that'll give you the idea of what we're doing, and so I'll bring you back. Okay, one more quick shot here. I'm going to put the revolving center back on here, but I've got it off to check this. So I've got a nice press fit on here, and what I've done is I've turned this down to 410 per the drawing. I've turned this area down here. This is the part that slips inside the tube for a press fit, okay? And this little flange out here is just a 32nd of an inch, so that's where it cuts off. And so at this point, if you look at the drawing, let me swing around there. If you look at the drawing, I don't know if I can point to it or not here. So everything is, they're trying to make it as light as possible. So there's a, oh damn it, I kicked the camera. There's a recess right in here. Let's see if I can see what I'm doing here. There's a recess right in here. So I'm going to put the revolving center back in the end here, and I'm going to try to cut this recess in here. I don't know how much lighter it makes it, but they did the same thing to the other end cap. They're just trying to make the situation as light as possible. And my wall thickness on the displacer tube is a bit heavy, so I guess I better try to lighten up this thing as much as possible. And then at that point, I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to put the compound on, and I'm going to cut this 30-degree bevel here. Probably, I'll probably do that with no, there won't be any center in here. We'll probably be able to just do that without a problem. If it looks like I need to put the steady on there, I can always do that. And then all this other stuff gets done from the other side once this gets turned around in the chuck. So we'll turn it around in the chuck, we'll cut it off, and we'll bore this. We'll make this bore, and this is a thread here. It's not showing on the drawing as a thread, but this is a 540 thread, and this is a little what do I want to say it? This is a little register up here. for the end of the push rod. So the push rod registers in this little 86 thousandths hole, and it threads up to that point. So hopefully, hopefully this thing is, everything remains concentric, and we're good to go. So with that, I'll call off on this little segment and get this other work done, and then maybe I'll shoot a little bit of video of the putting the bevel on here. But that's about it, and then we're going to turn it around and get it set up in the forejaw in the other direction. So with that, I'll turn the camera off again, and I'll get back. Okay, we're ready to cut the bevel on the end of this. I've marked the cutoff place back here. Okay, so it's I just to make sure all the dimensions are right. And I also marked where I'm going to cut it off here, okay? And I'm going to cut it off next, I think, before I put the bevel on there. And hopefully we get rid of most of that that counter bore there where we put the revolving center. Hopefully we get rid of most of that, because the hole in the end of this thing is really, really small. And I'd hate to try to put a bushing in there. So hopefully we'll be good there. Anyway, that's where we're at. We've got the recess cut, 92 thousandths deep. I used a combination of a couple of things. I used a parting blade that's a little thicker than the one I normally use to reach back in there and get a lot of that out of there. I also used a this 45-degree blade that well, where is it? I guess that's not it. Where did I do with the thing here? I used this 45-degree blade that I used before to cut the 45-degree on the outer edge. So that takes care of that, and hopefully that's good enough. You know, some of this stuff doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of difference, but try to follow the plan. So with that, I'll call off, and I'll bring you back when we get to the point where we're going to cut that bevel on there. I got to mount the compound on the lathe, so I'll bring you back. Okay, I'm back. Got the compound mounted. So I don't know what the dimension is here on the end. I'll have to look, but basically we're going to bevel off this end 30 degrees. So we're just going to take a couple minutes here to do this. Nothing much. Then we're ready to turn it around. As it turned out, the hole in the end's a little bit large, so I'll have to improvise there somehow. The flat place on the end, yeah, I'll have to check and see what that needs to be. It's going to be my best guess anyway. Let me go check the dimension on that right now. I don't really have the dimension on it. The 86,000. Well, I'm saying it needs to be about 100,000. All right. Well, let's see where we're at now. Just take my best guess. I'm just going to dial in 100 thousandths on the calipers here and take a look at it. 100 thousandths isn't very big. Boy, pretty small. Maybe I better go 120. So there's 120 thousandths. We got a ways to go. Not far. Got to be a better way to measure that, huh? put a look at that with a caliper again and see where we're at. I gotta go about down to that hole, I guess. That hole's too big, so I suppose I could cut this thing off some more if I need to. Kind of a big bite that time. I think that's adequate. I don't think we written in stone. We got a taper on the end, right down to that hole, which is about 120. It should be 86. So, but it tapers as it goes up in there. So I don't know how far off it is. I guess I put too big a center in there. Anyway, it'll work out okay. So I'll call off now, and I gotta turn this thing around in the forejaw, and I got a lot of area that I've got surface there on that on the round bar, so I'll be able to dial that in nicely. So I'll bring you back. Okay, I think I'm going to call an end to this video at this point, because I think it's going to be getting too long. But I did cut this off. So, and I do have two nice press fits, and I'm guessing that all I got to do really is I can press this in with the press over there, or I can probably just heat up the tube, and these pieces will just fall right in. Or I could even cool them off before I put them in there. But I'm pretty sure heating up this tube will let that 1/1000th of an inch go in there. So that's probably all there is to it. And well, this is the piece we just made, and all we have left to do is to drill a couple holes in here. Basically, that's all there is to it, and then put a little shallow thread down in there for the push rod. So that's it. And so I'll update you when we get that done, and I'll show you what we did. But as far as the machining work is concerned, I think I'll call off at this point, because we're just going to drill a couple holes basically in there. So that's it. We're almost done with the displacer. I suppose I should make the rod at this point before I put the thread in here. But at that point, I'll bring you back in the next video. So this will be the end of this video, and the end of this segment. So thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later.